I'm from Flushing, New York.
I grew up in Great Neck, New York. My cousin Herbie was his close friend, and so Herbie fixed us up, and we've now been married 56 years. Gets better every year. We have 3 children, and they are all wonderful. 2 of our children are doctors, Michelle and David, and then of course Cheryl works at Facebook.
We moved around a lot, and we went to Israel for a year where I set up a chemotherapy unit at the big government hospital, Tel HaShomer, now Sheba Medical Center. That's what got us started in Jewish causes, working for Jewish survival. In the 1970s, Soviet Jews were being oppressed.
If a Jewish family was in trouble, they would be courageous enough to apply for an exit visa. And if they applied, they would be refused. And then they would be called a refusnik. Well, it was very dangerous because if you were a refusnik, you could be arrested, you could be sent to a psychiatric ward, you could be killed. I was so influenced by the Holocaust. So when I heard that there were 3 million Jews stuck inside the Soviet Union being oppressed, I knew that we had to help.
So we helped found the South Florida Conference on Soviet Jewry.
We worked almost a 20-year effort.
We worked with Congress.
We actually went to the Soviet Union. We were up against the most powerful, enormous, oppressive, totalitarian regime. But in the end, millions of Jews got out of Russia. It was like a miracle. And 1 million Jews were able to emigrate to Israel.
We Soviet Jews could never succeed in our struggle of winning our freedom. My friends and comrades in arms, John and Adele Sandberg, we were the leaders of this struggle in southern Florida. They were coming to us. We were making sure that none of the names of the refuseniks is forgotten. Thank you, John and Adele, for this long-time friendship and comradeship in arms.
4 or 5 years ago, we met Eli Beer on a plane. I was sitting next to this guy that was dictating the entire flight. When we landed, I asked him, "Why were you dictating?" So he said that he runs a nonprofit in Israel that saves lives, United Hatzalah. So now we really wanted to talk to him. So we invited him to go into the city with us and where he was going, and we met him for breakfast the next morning.
The next morning he arrived at our hotel on an ambucycle. And that's when he told us that United Hatzalah has 6,000 volunteers and they never charge. And Eli is so charming and so persuasive that by the time he left, we had donated an ambulance.
I'm a voluntary professor at the University of Miami Medical School. And so when Eli was hospitalized with COVID, very early in the pandemic, I was privileged to be his healthcare proxy and his advocate.
Eli was terribly sick. He had been on a ventilator for 21 days, but Joel never gave up. He found an experimental protocol. In 1 day, he recovered after they started that treatment.
I was just privileged to be his healthcare proxy and advocate and keep Eli Beer and Giddy and his 6,000 volunteers doing their job. 2 summers ago, we were in Israel with Cheryl and Tom and their family. We took them to the United Hatzalah Communication Center in Jerusalem. We were all blown away by the high-tech efficiency and particularly by the duplicate system in the basement bomb shelter and by the passion of the volunteers.
And that's where we met Giddy Beer. Giddy was the founder of the women's unit. It's been very successful. They've already trained 1,000 female medics in Israel. So now we have the Women's Initiative here in the United States, and our job is to raise the money so that we can underwrite the training of thousands more. You know, Cheryl has always been an advocate for women. So now she is joining us in supporting the women's unit in Israel, and we're very, very proud of her.
United Hatzalah had two phases. The first phase of starting the organization and growing it, and then the phase where we met the Sandbergs. They are incredible people who are changing this organization for many, many years to come. So I want to thank them for all their involvement, for saving my life, and for saving thousands and thousands of lives here in Israel through United Hatzalah.
Joel and Adele, the most incredible people that I think I've met in my life, whether it's by giving an ambulance that will save lives, ambucycles, support across the board with our board members, our partners, and of course our volunteers. Thank you for your support. Thank you for your friendship.
For my 75th birthday, they sponsored a day of life-saving for me, and I had no idea what that meant until I got the list of the people that were saved as a result of what they had done. It was incredible to me. They are pillars of our community who work really hard to make this world a better place.
As a physician and someone who is passionate about Israel and Jewish survival, I love United Hatzalah.
United Hatzalah brings together Christians, Muslims, Jews, Orthodox, secular, people who could be enemies, and they are working together. This is, to me, a blueprint for world peace. It's very humbling to be honored because the volunteers are the ones who drop everything and run out to save lives. And when we support them, it means we're part of all the mitzvahs that they do every day.